We're live?
We're going live? Yep, we're now live.
Hello, everybody.
Let me just check one more thing real quick, because we are live. I just want to make sure the description has actually became a description. That makes sense. Now here we go. Description. Yep, description's fine, and alright. There you go.
Mov. I'm gonna start calling you Mov2 now, and the reason's
Mov
because
2.
5 minus...
What the hey, Muv, kind of mention that with Kai, like, DM or whatever. Alright, I'm gonna make an announcement. I'm gonna add to everyone. Yeah, that's right. Add to everyone. Currently about to do a live stream. Or actually, I'm doing a live stream. I should say I am doing a live stream about Clasterlogic2019, and we want to hear your thoughts and such. Join the VC if you want. Opinions are... I don't know how much. Just join the VC if you want to talk about him. If you don't have a mic, then it's fine. We're about to add everyone. 3, 2, 1, go. I have added everyone here. So we will be getting. You know what? Just for today, I'm going to keep my camera down here because I feel like it'll work more better in this context, I would say. Now, I'm going to kind of spread some streaming links. Now, if you're unaware of who, actually, I'll be checking every so once in a while. We have 2 people watching the stream right now. So Nanis, or whatever. Alright. So, if you're unaware on, who Clasterlogic is, Clasterlogic...
Hello, snake face.
Alright. So... Clasterlogic, if you're unaware, is a person that has been there's a couple. It's a bit of a long history, but to keep it short, most people kind of just see him as this person who spams the CLG threads on CLG wiki, if that site and such, and honestly, yeah, that's all I can really say. Yeah, I'm about to go on the biggest tirade, or I can just kind of say something for a second. So, that's who. That's why most people see Clasterlogic is, or as, I should say, and we want to hear your thoughts on him.
Thoughts. Me and EDC4 are the hosts of today's rant about Claster.
Today's rant. I think rant's a bit of a harsh word. We're making
talk.
We're just talking about Claster. We're not trying to, like, we're pushing opinions by everyone, including ours, but we're not trying to enforce it. That is
exactly.
That is not the goal of what we're trying to do.
We accept any hot takes or anything. We accept anything. So please join us. And at least I'd recommend you promote this link a little more.
I am about to. I'm trying to think about the right places to put them.
This is on a completely unrelated note, but I just got a comment on my KUAC channel.
Everybody.
I just got a comment on my KUAC TV logo.
No what? Hold on.
Yeah, last day you're sexy.
perhaps not the right time, Kai. Perhaps not the right time. All right. This is. I'm not trying to make this too strict, but I am trying to kind of mention what this is. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm. Somebody asked who I was. I'm. You know, my main claim to fame is I made the second most popular video about ITV logos. So.
What logo? Okay. I will say this. I can hear you just fine, but your mic is ever so slightly lower quality. So. What?
Yeah.
I'm trying to repeat the call letters.
Oh.
What was it?
ITV.
Oh,
ITV.
ITV. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You're talking about ITV logos. So you're talking about the okay, ITV. You're mainly talking about the
the
main British channels. Yes. Are they all? I don't think they're all.
I did everything up to 89.
I could be wrong on this, and you might be an expert, but I don't think are all the like main UK channels ITV. Of course, during the time because ITV has become ITC, from what I know.
BBC, Channel 4. I believe like ITV has like it's kind of similar to what we have in the States. You know, like how ABC,
NBC,
yeah, have all like these affiliates all over the nation. You know, like how ABC has KABC out of LA, WABC out of New York, on my local KTV out of Omaha.
Very interesting, man. So I would assume, how active are you on like CLG or whatever? If you are.
One, like, I haven't even posted anything on the forums. I'm not a writer or anything like that.
I see. Are you aware of who Claster is? Like, do you know like the name of Claster?
No. Through the company, I've never heard of this specific user before.
Yeah. Okay. So you've heard of Claster, I think Limited or whatever. Yeah, but so to give a heads up or to
because I'm out of the loop,
making this unbiased and such. Actually, before I do, I want to say hello to New Metropolitan Pictures. Hello. If you want to talk about Claster, go ahead and join the Discord link below. If you want to leave afterwards, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to stay. I know I'm using my own server, but this isn't me trying to shill my server or whatever. I'm just trying to genuinely be curious and such about what people want to say. So, if you're to give an unbiased like thing about who Claster is right now, so if you're wondering, Claster is a person who on CLG was oh, and hello names. If you want to know, Clasterlogic was a person on CLG's CLG wiki that got into controversy for a multitude of reasons, but one of the first reasons was he had like confrontations with Fred about the LGBTQ community and stuff like that. So tensions were kind of building up and such. The reason he was banned, because he did get banned eventually, but the main reason he got banned was at the time he was on the CLG's wiki Discord, public one, and he was mentioning TR3X, and he was saying it in more of like a, I wouldn't say negative way, but more of like a mean, like more hostile, to put it simply. And due to already building pressures and like kind of stress, due to the fact that Claster did not speak kind of well or whatever, what happened was that he got banned and he started sock puppeting the CLG, which of course a lot of people usually do when they get banned. But one of the biggest like things that has happened with with Claster was he actually started impostoring people, which, if you're wondering...
Yeah, I got impostered.
Yeah, Kai was impostered, but other notable people were Jordan Rios, who, if you don't know, you might know him by a lot of his logo captures or like VHS openings. I think you can, I'm unsure if this is true or not, but you can quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe also as well, he impostered, or he also made fun of a lot of the mods, specifically a person, Coolie Boy, on the CLG admin. And he has been doing this for a bit now. He's been spamming the Freds, and recently there have been talks, at least on CLG, between mods and admins about if there should be some sort of thing with the FBI, since they're since one of them mainly it was Logophile. Logophile decided to make a thread, and he was talking about the fact that technically what he's doing was cyberbullying in a way, because he's been doing this for almost a year now. It started happening around September, October. It's been a couple of months now, and now at this point, Claster's still aware. He is aware of the whole situation, and right now, that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're at with really Claster. You can, if anyone's watching this, or because I have DVR on, if you want to, you can go ahead and mention anything else you want to say, because I will take any evidence as long as you have some sort of kind of proof or something. If you're wondering, Skankface, if you're wondering, yes, it's the actual FBI, not the not any sort of false claim about the FBI, if that makes sense. Not anything like that.
Did he post CP or something like that? I mean,
did he post CP?
No.
I'm asking.
Most likely not. If he did post something like that,
probably
that would be a big ass
whole
mess. That would be even worse than the mess.
So he did not. I feel I don't know if you might be confused. There is this. Okay, this is a very recent image, but right now, this was an apology or whatever. I'm not sure if you're talking about this or not, but I do kind of see that as a possibility, and I want to say possibility in the loosest way possible, because I'm unsure. So, I have my own...
respond? Wait, sorry.
Wait,
I
Dash?
saw a message.
Yeah, okay, so...
actually, I think I might be involved in this mess too, then.
So...
Since Dash is mentioned. Oh, fuck.
So, I will be completely honest with you. I know a couple of the people who did it. So, there was okay, now that we're more of an unbiased way, we're going to probably get a little bit more biased, but we're not going to try and make it too strict right now. So, there was, at one point, a group of people on Discord, mainly connected with the CLG Wiki Discord, who had heard of Clasterlogic, had decided to go ahead and confront him directly, usually using his server, I believe. Now, Dash was one of the people. There was a couple others. There was a guy named Fagur, a guy named
I know that person.
A guy named Argus,
and then
I'm taking a look. Anyone else that I'm thinking of? I don't think so, but
I also at one point confronted Claster because he was being irrational on another server and abandoned
which one? So I know that there was issues between not only with the CLG Wiki Discord. There was another Discord I'm aware about. Are you talking about? There's one called, I think, the PBS.
Yep,
PBS
that one.
Kids and Friends Discord or something like that.
Yeah, that weird one about PBS Kids. That's really fucking odd. That one. I'm a really high up admin or whatever on that server, and at one point I had to confront the piece of shit about his actions, and he just got more and more annoyed, and I just banned him.
I don't know if I feel okay. Also, I want to mention there's another guy called I don't know how to really pronounce his first name well, but it's Vang Max, and he is kind of like a
Von Max.
Von Max? Is that how you say it? I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Alright.
No, don't worry. I had issues with it too.
Yeah.
Or at least I think that's how it's pronounced. That's just what I'm going with.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna read a couple of the Discord things that are happening right now. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 people in the VC right now. So far, I'm gonna read a couple of the newer stuff. So, let me actually kind of ask this real quick. So, actually, I need to ask a quick question about New Metropolitan. Actually, no. You know what? Never mind. I keep getting. I know I'm getting you with someone confused with someone else, but I think. Yeah, I know you're not that person. Never mind. I'll mention what I kind of mean later on. So, user on my Discord, who's a good friend of mine, that guy. Yes, I'm mentioning your name directly. I'm sorry if you didn't want to. So he.
It's fine.
All right. So here's what he's wanting to say. I'm going to take a quick screenshot of this so I can put it up for you, so you can kind of read it. It'll take me a quick second because the way I'm doing this is kind of slow. So hear me out.
But the problem with replying to Skankface's comment that says contact his ISP or his mom, which we'll talk about later.
We will talk about that later. Yeah.
If just stay. We'll talk about it later on why that is not a feasible motive.
It could be. It could be. We're not. Don't put any biases just yet. We're gonna get into that right now. So here's what.
I said it might not be.
Might not be. Here's what that guy wants to say. So. The cluster thing has been taken way too far wiki-wise. At first, it was all just annoying sock puppeting and flat out trolling by him. Then that day, March of 19th, which was 10 days ago, if you're wondering, that's where things took a turn. One of the admins,
logo to get the FBI involved, which IMO is just too far.
Yeah. So that's what that guy's thinking. The stuff EDC4 had, so that's me, EDC4. I don't know why I'm referring to myself.
That guy, by the way.
I don't know why I'm referring to myself in a third person, but the stuff that I said in the CLG Venting channel made me realize that the logo community documenting everything Claster does is pushing logo community to its furthest, and may end up making the logo community look very, very toxic. I'll get to that in a second. This has gotten way too out of hand, especially with some people going as far to call the FBI over everything Claster has done, essentially giving the wiki a double-edged sword of any kind. I realized by typing this out that it's also giving himself a double-edged sword. I'll place this kind of over here. If anyone wants to kind of look at it again, just look at DVR.
EDC4 as well. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna reply to that guy's comments after you respond to them. Okay.
All right. So.
Said that.
I'm going to check out a little bit of it right now. So what I want to say is that. So that guy thinks calling the FBI is a bit too far, and to a standpoint, it could be, and I'm not saying it should be or not. Let me actually. Oh no, I already get that here. Yeah. So I'll get into my bias in a second, and
if you're calling the FBI on someone special like this, then and there's something deeply wrong, and that you could end up getting yourself in trouble as well.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Okay, I don't know where Logophile actually lives, and I don't know because there is a reason for that, privacy and such. But whatever state he's living in, or whatever part of the world he's living in, unsure. I think he is in the U.S. I think. I could be wrong on that. So Logophile saying that calling the FBI, it might. So I'm unsure how well that I'm unsure how cyberbullying really kind of is taken in the USA law. Of course, there's a kind of general consensus that it's bad and to kind of report it. But I'm unsure how bad, or I'm unsure how bad it needs to be for the FBI to get involved. Now, here's my thoughts on this. Current thoughts, I feel like in general, calling the FBI might be a bit too far, given the fact that all he really is doing. This is where my bias starts to come in, and I'm sorry if you don't want to hear it, but
you're fine.
Your opinion.
The way,
might as well say it.
The way I see it, of course, the FBI is what he's really doing, without any like worrying or not, is he's really just spamming the CLG threads. I know he has contacted moderators and admins and such, but not necessarily via emails. Usually it's mainly via the Wikipedia, or no, I mean the WikiFoundry's message system, which kind of works as intended. It's just a messaging system. There's no email that you're going to give out unless you give it out via, some social media viewers. And to my knowledge, he isn't spamming emails to all these people where it could be considered kind of spam and such. What he's really doing is spamming CLG threads so that he can voice a opinion. As crazy as it might be, he is just doing what he feels like is right, of course, because that's usually when you think someone is bad, they don't think the other way. They don't think that way as well. It's clear that Claster thinks he's doing the right thing and such, and I want to make it clear, sock puppeting and impostoring, as much as that is bad and such, that you can only go so far with it, because for one, when you're sock puppeting,
annoying, but not illegal per se.
Yeah, because maybe impostoring, but it's not. I don't think it's really too heavy, because if it was truly impostoring, it would be stuff like you would have like a driver's license, for example, or like an ID card. But here,
true impostoring is flat out illegal.
Yeah, what I see in my eyes, what I kind of just see it as is he's just using other people's usernames and images. Like for example, my boy Kai, the logo guy, who had been impostered. He just kind of said his username for that impostoring was just Kyle Logo Guy, and it was based off the YouTube channel of his at that time, because this was November, December. So really depends on how loose impostoring really is, and I don't think it's that loose, considering that there are actual criminals out here that are not in this community. They may be in some drug ring or human trafficking. But there are actual people out there who do, actually imposter in this sort of way. And they imposter actual people, or they do something, fake ID card, for example. So
basically identity theft.
I feel like that just kind of makes no sense to me, honestly.
Well, here's the thing that is what my word on the impostoring situation. Like he first said, it's very loose. It's not like he's trying to pretend. It's not like he's pretending to be me and then trying to convince people to he's not really doing stuff. He just sent links to a Discord. He said something in a thread. It's not like he was saying how I do bad stuff. He wasn't trying to convince people to do bad stuff. He just said something on a thread, and also sent a couple of Discord links to a couple of people on this account. It's not like he was actually trying to do harm and get people's credit card information or trying to make me look bad. He's using my name and my image, which I didn't like it at the time. Of course, you're not happy when you get impersonated, but I took it very calmly, because I didn't really care, because the community knew I had a CLG account, which is Megadeth99, by the way. Yeah. But basically, then the CLG admins know I am Megadeth99, so there's no way around it. So if anything, it just confirms security.
I do kind of want to actually before I go, I am kind of sorry that I'm going on and on about the whole topic of that guy, and we will get to your stuff a little soon. I won't try to drag this on for too long, and I do apologize if you really want to be talked about, and I will talk about you very soon. But I will say, I do remember how it happened. I legit thought, I remember that I had friended you, and I kind of checked out your channel at the time. And what happened was that I saw your channel, I would say, I don't know, probably early mid 2019, and I had remembered that in my head because I think you also joined the CLG wiki at the time. You at the time had a it was just an image. It was just a screenshot from the You've Got Gnome video, the classic. And what happened was that at the time, I realized by the CLG. So, in order for me to actually find out that it was actually Claster at that time, I had to have had some sort of thing. And one of the admins, who goes by the name of, I think, Anime TV Logos on CLG, had posted that...
Yeah, Anime TV Logos.
Yeah, he had posted a message he gotten from this, imposter account, and I figured, let me try and see, I was actually very interested, because at the time, Kai was also hosting a podcast, like, logo community podcast type of thing, and I was very interested in going on that.
It was called Ask Jins podcast.
Ask Jins, yeah. So
you can find the first and second episode. Oh, you can find the first one on the channel and then the second one on my channel if you want to see it.
Yeah, but it didn't last so long. But at the time, it was still ongoing, and I was like, I kind of want to be interested. I was interested in it, but by the time I went to that server, I got I was like, why was I going to Claster server? Because at the time, I was in Claster server because I was trying to see what he was really up to, and kind of in like a spy type of way, but not too much, because it wasn't like too big. It wasn't like I was trying to like spy into his personal life. It was just messages he put out and kind of relaying it to other people. So I saw this and I tried it twice, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Claster, because he sent a link to his server to two people actually. It was Anime TV Logos and then I think HMF Bears at the time. So I had notified the people on CLG Wiki Discord, but that wasn't the end of it, because that account got banned. But at the time, your account actually had gotten banned as well, and I had to make a thread mentioning that that wasn't the person and that we had kind of cleared this up, because I knew you on Discord as well, and I kind of had like proof of it. And your account was eventually, re-established. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, the reason I'm kind of mentioning this is that at the time, if no one stood up to it, your account might have been banned just because of the impostering itself. And the main reason I want to mention this was, I feel like, even though he was sock puppeting and all that, I personally feel like without contacting anyone, you could have been actually banned for a bit now. But at least I kind of try to look up to other people, because like I actually had trusted Claster for kind of the longest time, because I felt like he was just immature to a standpoint. However, the reason we're here now is because I never really gave too much of a thing to that. So, by the way, Kai just said he'll be BRB and he'll be back in a couple seconds. But that's what I was just wanting to mention. So let's go on to the next kind of messages.
Quick question though.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out like logo files reasoning behind contacting the FBI? Was it just all the information?
So I feel like personally that so there has been a thread about it, but I felt like it was legitimately because that logo file thought that it was actually not necessarily, I wouldn't say illegal, but it was still technically cyberbullying in his eyes, because if you're spamming something, you are technically you're not causing too much harm, but you are still kind of spamming. And there has been stuff like this where you're supposed to like report spam and such, so that it can be reported on and it can be taken down and such. And I kind of saw, I see where logo file was coming from in that regard, but within that, without no context, it's just a bit crazy in my eyes. I'm not calling logo file crazy at all, because logo file, I feel like he has his own problems, but that's with every person. Even every mod, every admin, they mainly act good, but they have some issues that can sometimes cause to some problems. And even though the main thing is that right now you can't be like a mod or anything right now, because there's like mini mods and mini admins, but the reason they became that way was because they had achieved some sort of success in some way, and their overall way of doing things was mature and such. It wasn't like exploitive. It wasn't like bad or anything. It was just in that.
I'm back.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Welcome back, Kai.
It wasn't like me like 2 or 3 years ago and just rational.
Huh? Say that again? Say that again, Nanis?
But I'm not going to go into that.
Hold on, say that. No, I actually didn't hear you. Say that. Say that again.
I was going to say, in order to be like a good mod or whatever, you have to not be like me on the CLG Discord from 2 years ago.
Ah, okay, so
when I got banned.
You're wanting to make it in...
I was in irrational mode.
I see. You're wanting to make like a... I wouldn't say in-joke, but you're wanting to kind of reference...
It's not really a joke. It's
no, I know what you mean, but like with an in-joke, it's usually kind of inside... It's usually within like a community and such. I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You're kind of saying that it's not an in-joke. I'm just trying to think... I don't know the right term for it, and I don't want to try and like search it up and spend 10 hours looking for it. So... The next thing we're gonna kind of
do.
Go ahead.
I was going to say is those who like don't understand. Basically, there's a whole bunch of drama with some guy named Emmett or whatever, and that caused me to pretty much snap and go into self-destructive mode. And then Nick or whatever banned me from the server, but not from CLG, because he knew that wasn't normal, and like I understood.
Yeah. Are you talking about Nick Lancer, or are you talking about a different Nick?
Nope, Lancer.
Oh, yeah, it is Lancer.
Cool guy, by the way.
Yeah. I just opened up Steam. I have to close it out in a second. So.
Wait.
Yeah, Kai.
DC4 if you want. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Well, what I was just gonna say though was that are we gonna start talking about? I might want to talk about my opinion soon because I might have to leave soon.
If you need to leave, I'll go ahead and discuss your opinion after. Let me do at least one more of these, and then let me at least go through one more of these types of comments that I'm getting on the VC.
Okay, yeah, you can.
And then you can mention how you feel about it personally. Okay. So. Okay, Skankface, like I said, I'm going this completely blind. I don't know anything about the situation at the moment. I barely know the low community since 2017. The only connection is that you're in a server and such. Alright, I'm gonna kind of skip that one. But I know what you're trying to say, yeah? I can agree it was annoying sock puppet. This is from Muff. I can agree that it was annoying sock puppeting, though I find it hilarious of the drama and trying to call the FBI about a law that doesn't exist as of right now. The logo community was always toxic. I quit the logo community for the last message. It's going to be the exact same, but he's not a lawyer. I can actually kind of agree on that because there are times within every community, there are times where a community seems very toxic due to how people react to it. Because the way people react to things with any community, it's usually within public opinion and such. You can't just... If you say something negative, more people are likely going to stand up and believe in a negativity. Just as if you said something positive about a person, they'll respect that person. And if you say something negative about that person, they won't respect that person. It's just kind of how any kind of relationship with any sort of community or any sort of person in general kind of works, because within every sort of idea, you just kind of have to take influence from other people, because you cannot just see everything, of course. So what other people say, you kind of have to say too. That can lead to confusion in some situations, or maybe exploitation if you want to talk about, for example, fake logo captures, for example, that come up from time to time. There's one guy in particular that's been big for that, but yeah. I'm gonna let Kai speak on his opinion because he'll need to leave soon, and I promise that I'll let him speak with his opinion.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go throughout the entire Claster situation. I disagree with what he did in terms of spamming the threads, sock puppeting, impersonating people, and stuff. But I feel like the community is kind of, I'm not everyone, of course, and I'm being very careful with my words in a lot of ways, but some of the people in the community are kind of bullying him in a way, like not inside like a bully way, but I feel like what's happening is, he said this before, but he has autism, and people with autism tend to be less sociable, and let's just say a community is attacking people, then let's just say like I'm gonna put this to a school perspective. Let's just say Claster and a bunch of other people were in a group of things. Then all of a sudden, the other group of people started insulting Claster. Well, he's gonna be like they take it more literal than the average person, and they are wait a second, wait. Okay, I'm just gonna continue. Wait, my mom's calling me for a second. I'll continue.
Go ahead and speak. I'm gonna call you reviewer now because you've changed your username. Go ahead and speak real quick while Kai is out.
What I'd like to say is, like, I mean, autism doesn't really excuse anybody's behavior. I mean, like,
I agree. I was literally about to say that.
Stupid stuff, so.
Yeah. Even though I am friends with Kai, I'll say this once he comes back, but I do feel like autism doesn't necessarily mean everything. Because even though I don't have autism and I can't necessarily relate in some standpoints, of course you have to realize that, you know, it really depends on the level and such. And I don't know how big of the level it is, and I don't know how, you know, destructive he could be, and I don't think he would be destructive at all. It all really depends on is how he necessarily deals with it, because I myself am very unknown to autism, because I do not actually study that and kind of look at it. But last time I checked, if you wanna say, you know, something is like if someone does have it here and they kind of want to explain, that's personally fine. But I believe last time I checked, autism doesn't necessarily affect with you know, how you act. It mainly kind of affects how you think, and that can lead to some issues, but it depends, because you can still kind of defy it in some ways because it's not permanent. Last time I checked.
No,
I disagree with that, Edie.
Autism is in a way permanent.
Autism is permanent. It is permanent, and here's the thing about it too. Autism does affect your actions because you'll think about, like, example, it does affect your mind, but your mind could also affect your mind could affect your actions in a lot of ways, and because of that. But here's the thing: people with autism tend to get picked on. If you want to know why I know this, my mom studied in college about autism, and my aunt has a person has an autistic cousin, and I even have like a really low form of it, but it's almost unnoticeable. But basically, with autism, the thing that happens is it's hard to explain, but all I'll say is that they don't really take well to like people with autism, especially when it's a higher level. Like, I think Claster is around I'm not gonna self-diagnose him, but I feel like just from his behaviors, he's more of an low function, high functioning, like Asperger's, which high functioning doesn't mean it's actually high level of autism, but it means that it's actually a lower form of it. But at the same time, it still can affect you socially, and because of that, it's I feel like and also it's hard to fully explain what I'm saying, but autism can I think after his banning, cause more problems for himself because he can't handle it. Exactly, when people with autism are destroyed from the routine communities.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but you try to mention the fact that you're reading a quote there, because I'm unsure if people will get confused if someone like watches this later on.
Yeah, there's a quote.
Muff said something on the Discord.
After his banning, caused more problems for himself because he can't handle it, and I think that's a problem as well. One of the problems as well, he can't handle not being part of the community from the looks of it. He's really bothered by it, and because of that, he's trying to. But here's the thing: when they act out like that, I feel like, from what I've seen, at least from my personal perspective, which doesn't mean it's fully right or anything. But what I see is that when people with autism tend to want to get something, they'll harass you to get something, and I feel like Claster's doing that to try and get his CLG Wiki account back, but he doesn't realize that's destroyed his chance. But another thing, yeah, like I said, people with autism tend to get bullied more, and I'm not gonna say who specifically said that, but one of the people in the wiki said how he is, and wait a second. I'm not gonna say who because I don't want to throw him under the bus because I think he's a really nice guy. Mentally insane guy is one of the things.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say.
I know exactly who you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
He's not usually a bad guy.
Anyway.
He's not a bad guy at all. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to throw him under the bus. But basically, yeah, he called like under the context. He was a guy was sock puppeting. It wasn't Claster, but people thought he was. He said how he was a mentally deranged guy, which those words could really hurt someone with autism because they'll believe it. And like I said with and here's the thing that's super. I'm just gonna put this situation in. I'm gonna take it and make kind of like a story with it. I've seen cases of kids, like of autistic kids being bullied at school, getting called that stuff, and they ended up killing themselves. But at the same time, Claster doesn't seem suicidal. I'm saying this for once and for all. But also, his home life. I'll let EDC4 talk about the mom thing.
Alright, I'll talk about that in a second, but I know I heard Nana's kind of breathe or whatever a couple times. Did you want to say something by any chance?
Oh yeah, I was going to say something.
I'm wanting to give you a chance to.
For a large amount of like what Kai is saying, especially since when I was younger, I remember like a large amount of times when I was younger, a large amount of similar things with like being bullied and whatever just happening to me and stuff. And a large amount of times too, even though a lot of this is true, a large amount of times, just because the person has autism, we shouldn't just think, oh, this is an excuse. Or just because they have shit in life.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you. But
I hear you.
That sounded a lot better in my head than it did when I spoke it, by the way.
I was paying attention, but I didn't actually get how it was bad or anything. Perhaps maybe I didn't see that as bad or something.
Bananas. I agree with you on that statement. There's like it's also called as the autism card, what they say.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be an excuse. But here's the thing: I'm looking at it more or less as they are purposely trying to get out of their way to get Claster. Like sample.
Okay, I know who you're talking about too with that. Yeah, I'll mention that in a second.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead and actually, real quickly say it, because I know Kyrie doesn't have too much time left.
Going back to that one thing about the mentally deranged thing, sometimes when you get called things like mentally deranged enough, or like you see that someone behind your back is deranged, in a way you start to slowly believe that you actually are. It's similar to people, to like hypochondriacs or whatever, or like going up and searching what the symptoms of their illness are, and then believing that they have a serious illness. It's similar to that.
I see.
What were you saying?
I can agree with you. On that, and it's about people after getting told stuff like that, especially from highly respected people in the community, kind of calling you stuff like that. I feel like it could have an effect on him, because you could tell he really wants to be part of the community. He's spamming them to try. He thinks that it's going to make it better, but it's not in some regard. I feel like that's what's happening. Even though he won't admit it, I feel like that's what's happening. And I'm not trying to give him a card to do whatever the hell he wants to expand the wiki. I think it's wrong, and I feel like he should be banned off the wiki for doing. There's no way around it. But people going out of their way to attack him, including the Claster2019 exposed servers and these terrible videos that are getting made on him for basically no reason at all. I find, like, I'm not dissing the people in the servers, like I said. I've talked to some of them. They seem like really nice people. But here's the thing. I don't know if they realize it or not, but it could be looked at as bullying in a lot of ways because he's not like. And here's the thing: when someone with autism's pushed like that, like if I don't know if you have seen this, but he also said some racial slurs, which is not acceptable at all.
Yeah,
not acceptable at all. The logo guy does not condone using the N-word. Everyone, you can put that on record.
Well, technically, he also said the R-word.
I feel like, he also said the R-word.
I explicitly do not condone the use of the N-word at all.
I do not condone the use of the N or R word at all. But at the same time, it looks like
any word that can have a negative connotation, especially when used in an out of context manner, like the N word, is not condoned by me or anyone here at all.
I don't condone the use of slurs in general. Not curse words, just flat out slurs.
Anything that could cause a real that could cause a person actual harm is something that I cannot simply condone.
So here's
the thing, though. I'm gonna continue with, like I said, though. But I feel like Claster was pushed to saying those words in a lot of ways. Right? He shouldn't have used them still. But at the same time, I feel like that's where the autism comes to play. People with autism tend to be pushed more, but that's not an excuse. He shouldn't say those goddamn words. Stop it, Claster.
Can I mention something?
Sure.
I know you can probably call me crazy. So when it comes to slurs, the way I kind of see them, I'm okay with anyone using slurs as long as it's not used within a negative tone. So if words hurt, and I can understand that because any words can hurt within how another person takes it, and slurs in particular are originally made for that entire use, essentially. So within that, I will be completely honest with you. That is a fair game. However, the way I kind of see it, I know Claster was kind of intending to be hateful in the messages, because I have seen them myself. I don't know if I can put them on screen or not, because I don't want to make the main goal of this isn't to make Claster good or bad. It's just to give our personal thoughts on them. But the way I kind of see it, slurs can be used as long as it's not meant to be like in a hateful manner. Like if it's meant to be kind of in a friendly manner, and the other person's okay with it, and they're not like uncomfortable. If they're uncomfortable, just don't say it, of course. And within Claster, I can definitely agree with you that I feel like he was definitely uncomfortable, but because he said those words, everyone else probably felt uncomfortable too, especially depending on if other people see it, if they're if they're another race or if they're another gender, for example, with the R and F word.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the N word. I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about that, and but I've seen people getting pushed, just like people with autism getting pushed to say or do things which end up getting them in trouble. And I understand that's not what they're intending to do, but I see it happen a lot. Especially at my school, for example, I see it a lot. That happens, but at the same time, and they're kind of pushing it. And then when I saw the DMs of their responses are like, "Oh, you just said the N word, bro. You said the N word." It's like they kind of were pushing him, and once he said that, they were like, "No, that." Oh my god, you just said the N word, how fucking dare you? Like, it's like they're purposely trying to. It's hard to explain. It's just I have a wrong feeling. And here's the thing: I don't think those guys are bad at all. Like I said, I'm gonna not claim their names, because unless they do some more scummy shit, I'm not gonna name their names at all.
Are you talking about the people who confronted Claster? Because I've already technically named the names.
Yes, but I wouldn't. They're not bad people.
Yeah,
not bad
I will. Let me just say this right now. Just because someone appears toxic in some way, it's not because they're toxic in real life. It's mainly because, with public opinion and such. Because a lot of people on CLG don't like the fact that a lot of what Claster does, because sock puppeting and all that. But even within that, don't try to harass anyone. Or you know what? I've kind of had a brain fart. I'm sorry. I had so many things going through my mind that I wanted to say, but I didn't know which one I wanted to pinpoint. So I'll just bring it back to Kai. Okay.
Now, before.
Oh wait, hold on.
Now, before I just want to say something about this thing. I don't know what to say here, but I just want to let you know that I'm not really taking sides on any of these matters.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be neutral as much as possible.
Main goal of this live stream that I'm gonna keep up, because it will likely become a video after this. But the main goal of this is to not. It's okay. It's bias and opinions and such, but it's not meant to be. You have to listen to us, otherwise you will get the death sentence. It's not nothing like that. All right.
Yeah, something like that.
Of course, that's extreme, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kai, do you want?
Anyways, Kai,
do you want to say anything else?
Muv just sent a photo where Claster said it's not fake, it's real, and I mean it. I really.
Oh yeah, the Logopedia account. Yeah.
I promise I'll prove you evidence that this logo is real. And that's another thing that he does bad. He fakes logos sometimes.
I don't think. I don't think he fakes logos. I think I have not actually heard, like, all the things I've said. Like, I've personally been friends with you for like a bit now, but I have not heard anything about you saying that he's fake logos. Because I've
heard it before.
You've heard it before. I don't. It may not be. I feel like it's either a rumor or perhaps on some like old logo capture, maybe been deleted or something. I have not heard of that rumor, honestly. If it's real or not.
This has not been confirmed yet, but I'm gonna look at the other. But I agree. I'm gonna go back to that guy's first thing where he said the stuff EDC4 said the CLG benching channel. He realized that the logo community documenting everything Claster does is pushing the logo community to its furthest and may end up making the local community look a very, very toxic. And I have to fully agree with you on that, because the problem, I don't want people looking at the local community badly, because I'm part of it, and we're not all like this. But when people document Claster like this and constantly go out of their way to attack him sometimes, like not everyone, like I said, but when people just go out of their way to attack him, it throws the local community under the bus, the entire community, because a couple of people decided like to say some stuff about Claster and stuff. And let's just say Claster, I'm not going to say anything because I just realized that it'll sound wrong and I don't want it to be taken out of context, but I don't know how to finish this anymore.
Kai, can I mention something real quick? I wanted you to say a couple quick things, yeah? I know you're having problems with how you want to finish your statement, and I'm just I guess I'll cut you off because you don't really know. But I want to say something, right? I don't know if I got the wrong impression, but you can't just make everyone believe the local community is good automatically. Because within every community, it will be toxic. Within every toxicity, it will be more hidden depending on which part of the community you're on. Like, people can
just take a look at the Undertale community.
Yeah, I mean, like the Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy's communities are usually thrown under the bus because they're usually seen as like, I mean, they're still popular games. Like
another good example for this Railfan, where it doesn't seem truly that bad at first, but like it's But rail fanning, a large amount of times, is actually very toxic.
Hold on,
like the rail
I actually don't know what
communities in
exactly you're
general.
talking about. Hold on, what are you saying? I don't know what community you're talking about. Can you give me just a slight thing?
Rail fanning is like a hobby or whatever where people go and take pictures and videos of things like trains and buses.
Oh, you're okay. So like, those types of people. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's one of many communities where like I've seen it be very toxic.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't seem truly. Actually, in a way, it kind of does, but not always. It's just the more obvious things that make it look toxic are what actually makes it toxic.
Yeah.
Every community can be very toxic. But like I guess like any community can be like even the best communities can be very toxic. So there's no such thing as the best community because of that. Because
the best communities are the small ones.
The small ones that don't get enough people.
Like
yep.
I could kind of agree with that, but the problem is that every small community gets a breaking point, right? Like the local community, a lot of people, at least the way I kind of see it, a lot of people usually try to say, at least on the internet, that the first, kind of like real life instincts of the local community started in 1999 as a question was asked on what I believe was Yahoo groups. It wasn't.
It is Yahoo groups.
It wasn't the Yahoo groups of CLG Wiki, because if you're unaware, CLG Wiki started as a Yahoo group. It was before that.
CLG Wiki actually proclaims that it was a response to KC logos. No, they say CLG is thing on the logo reference in the world.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Every community has its own toxicity, and its own toxicity cannot just be defined based off, it's just going to make this community look like having issues talking, but I'm trying to get behind, hopefully, and if I have to explain, I have to think of it for a little longer, right?
But the thing about the local, I feel like if a community is going after almost like one person, it's not like, I'm not saying that the people are not being nice or anything, but it's not healthy when almost an entire community is after one guy who didn't even really, he only spams threads, makes sock puppets and stuff. Like, he didn't actually do something like devil-worthy. Like, I'm not gonna say anybody's names because I don't want to throw anybody on the bus, but there's a little CP stuff that's been released before in this community. But Claster didn't do the worst things, and yet he gets a lot of the outrage. That I understand he did a lot of stuff wrong. But at the same time, when the entire community is going after one person, it's not healthy.
I kind of want to say that with any so the reason that Claster is getting so much attention does not stem from the fact that he is really the worst. You can see he's the most talked about, yes, and the one everyone talks about, but he's put himself in that spotlight because of the fact that he himself is, usually spamming, wikis and such. And if you're on CLG Wiki's, Discord, or if you even been in the CLG Wiki for like the past week or so, you may have seen the name of Clasterlogic. Even if you're out of the loop, you're likely hearing this name and being like, who is this? And even though this has been going on for a bit now, the reason that this is being talked about a lot more than like any other bad person is because usually someone who's truly bad doesn't want to speak that much, at the very least. And if they do speak, they try to hide something bad about them, whether it be some sort of like, I don't know, I'm gonna try to make something up. Maybe they like did some identity theft in like 1994 or something, and they're a good person now, but he's just kind of interested in this. Like, I know that's extreme, yes, and to a point I can understand that, but usually bad people, or at least morally questionable people or morally wrong people are truly based on how other people take him and how well he makes stuff known. And in this case, Claster, he isn't necessarily bad, but he is very petty. And as seen with a lot of communities and such, if you do something that's considered petty, it will usually get talked about a lot more because people want to give their thoughts on it. And I should also mention that I know the reviewer 7387, who is actually still in the VC, by the way, he was out of the loop, and I can definitely understand, because right now what I'm doing is possibly making the situation even worse. It's a risk I'm taking, and it could work, it could not. And is it a risk that is going the way I want it to go? I don't know. It really depends on how other people, take this video and such. And that also happens with anything.
Here's the thing. We are not being malicious by any intent. And we're not, like I said, we're not attacking anybody at all. Like, we're trying to have a friendly discussion about the situation, because it's gotten a lot more serious as time went on, even though it shouldn't have,
Well,
it shouldn't have gone as serious as it did. Like, especially with people planning on calling the FBI on him. It shouldn't have gotten to that level at all.
Well, it was really, okay, I'm going to do name drops, and it's not going to be, it's going to be usernames, don't worry, but I am willing to do it. Do not attack any people that are mentioned in this, because I'm going to have just real quick statement, right? If you are going to hear me say something, and then you try to attack them, not only are you making yourself look more dumber than you are in real life, but you're also making everyone else feel that this person is worse than what they may be. And something like this can happen with certain things and such. Now, it's mainly one of the admins, name being Logo File, I think. I could be wrong. Actually, I could be wrong. Hold on. It's actually been a bit since that's actually happened. Let me check real quick. I can check. Yeah, it was Logo File. It's mainly Logo File, who has been a more of an older, I think admin. Hold on. It's taking a second to load. I'm sorry.
Administrator.
Edwin. Because he's been, I think, on the Yahoo groups, like, way back then. And there was another person who was agreeing with them, too. But the thing was, the reason he's doing it is because of the fact that he's doing it out of his own personal experience. And sometimes that personal experience can't help you all the way through. And sometimes this can, sometimes something you think is good can either not age, it can age poorly, for example. Like, big example I want to give, at the time, way back in 2014 and 2015, I don't want to call him by his real name, but I forgot. There was a video based off CLG Wiki's, at the time, logo trolls, including people like Dan B and Austin Alexander. And it was usually, the video itself was more of a tone of like, we're kind of angry at these people, and obviously not in the right way. It was more
they were pretty much angry because they pretty much stole logos, which after Enon found out what Pepsi got through with the copyright captures, he just determined that logo stealing is pretty much it.
Well, the main thing is that logo stealing, after a little bit, started to become less like taboo at the very least, because many people will try to make a claim that logo stealing is bad, and if they're not on CLG Wiki. I'm unsure if there's if anyone uses Logopedia here. Can you try and say if there's any is there any problems with people wanting to say something's logo stealing and it's just kind of been agreed on that it doesn't really matter? By any chance? Does anyone use Logopedia?
Let me look it up.
It won't be easy to look up because I have experience with the CLG. It's not like I can't just I know what has happened with certain controversies and such. Now I'll be honest with you. I joined way back in 2016, but I was still very close to 2014, 2015. At the time, I thought logo stealing was bad and all that, but by at least 2018 and 2019, that started to change. And the main reason that I want to kind of mention this was that the reason that's happened was because something didn't age well, right? Something, like some sort of little, kind of thing, after a little bit, didn't age well. And yes, sure, that's one video, but the way I see it, sometimes that can involve with people, communities, certain parts of like the world and such. So, that's what I was kind of wanting to mention there. Does anyone want to say anything before I kind of go back to
well, I have to
stuff?
go now.
Alright, see you, Kai.
So goodbye, everybody, and I hope. Wait, I think you just mom about the last situation. It appears your mom does know a lot. Oh yeah, well I can ask her, but it'll have to be. We'll have to make a part 2 to this live stream.
I don't want to force a part 2, but I don't want to make it like, hey guys, like this video right now and subscribe to my channel and turn on notification bell if you want to see Clasterlogic2019 part 2. Okay, I agree.
No, but like it won't be.
Who knows what can happen? Who knows what can happen in the foreseeable future?
If I can get an opinion from my mom about the situation, well, I'll have to ask her another time because right now, she had a little bit to drink today. No.
Okay.
Well, that's because I went to my grandparents. She's not drunk. She's not a drunk by any means. But anyways, I'm gonna have to go right now. Because my mom wants to talk to me about like songs and stuff for me to learn. So because I'm a musician. So anyways, I'll see you guys. Bye.
See you, Kai.
Okay.
So, does anyone want to mention anything before I start going back and reading all the stuff I've missed on like VC and such?
I'd just like to say this.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is pretty much trying. Is this trying to clear up everything?
So this is not trying to. The main goal, despite my own personal bias, I'm only bringing it up when within like context and such. And even though I have people like Kai who are my friend, like friends of you, that guy, I wouldn't say I'm too big of friends, but I am kind of semi friends that I have talked to Nanis at one point, and there are a couple other people here as well that I have kind of talked to every so once in a while. But the main reason that I'm trying to make this more of just like a let's talk about it type of thing. We're not trying to clear up anything, because the main goal of this stream is just to talk about it, give your own personal feelings, and if people don't want to, like, I don't know if people want to watch like how long the live stream is so far. Like, let's see, it's been about an hour. The thing is, we just are just talking, and we're just kind of giving how we see things, and maybe there'll be like a TLDR type of thing, like type of moment. But right now, we're just kind of saying what we want to say and then moving on, unless we want to talk about it again. I know Kai wanted to mention it even more, but All right. Oh, go ahead.
So so my opinion on this, calling the FBI, especially on somebody who I don't know, is like calling the FCC on someone who's been playing with the emergency alert system unknowingly setting off a false alarm or something.
Ah, okay.
Or someone hacking the EAS. Somebody said that we should probably not go after these people who set off the. We should go after the bad people who have legit intent to do actual harm, but the people who, but we probably shouldn't go.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh.
Shut up, Google.
Google bots.
Anyway, like calling the FBI over this is going way too far. It's like calling someone It's like calling the police on someone who's like spammed. It's like spam someone's email like 5 bazillion times.
Well, there is probably like actual laws against that, because depends on what it is. Is it like a scam email, or is it just like spamming something for malicious intent? Because I can see where Logophile was going with that, because it's like, it's not malicious intent like how I see it, but to his credit, by spamming, all this stuff, name calling as much as it's childish, but like you name calling, impostering, you could consider that some sort of form of like a malicious intent type of spam. And of course, there have been tensions building up between Claster and a lot of the CLG wiki members. I'm not going to be like all of them, of course. All you really need to think about is that within every sort of thing like this, like any community with some people bad egg that people want to keep talking about, it mainly depends on how people react to it. And of course, Logophile is reacting to it in his own way. And by just dismissing him entirely, you have to give a good explanation. I know there's a thread on CLG on Logophile's profile about it, but even then, if this were private, for example, you can't just dismiss it. Even if it's crazy, technically speaking, if it's brought up, it's brought up. We have to talk about it. There's even if you want to dismiss it, you have to at least give some sort of good reason. Otherwise, people are going to be like, why are we dismissing it so fast? Maybe this is the right reason. And even if you don't want to say that out loud, you have doubts in your mind about something. You know every time something like this happens with any sort of thing, like some bad egg or some bad experience, for example, you in your mind would think, well, why, how, and you have doubts about that. That happens with everything, and that happens with communities as well. I'm going to go back and see. So Inim, we'll call him Inim here, said, I think used to think Claster was one of those intention forgiveness seeking logo kids that screwed over CLG staff, and from the few mutual servers I'm in with him, he's like any other kid. I got something else to say. If y'all got anything to say while I type. So a friend of mine posted a rant video on Pepsi9072, and considering that it's in him, I think it's based off. I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but I feel like it's based off someone in particular, because I do have Pepsi9072, I am friends with him and such. So I think I know what he's talking about. He's commented on the video discussing why the video is bad, and I checked our comments. I know it's Claster, and he posted some screenshots. He's posted 2 screenshots. So Matthew Mayfield in me, I think he recently restarted Logo Mysteries. Could be wrong on that, but he said people like you need to let it go. It's about I believe if it's what I'm thinking it's likely about logo stealing and such. People like you need to let it go. You don't own the logos. He doesn't own the logos. Yeah, it's about logo stealing. The companies own them. He's right, there's no logo thievery. So, judging by what I have just read, I know exactly who he's talking about. There is a, I'm going to say this out. If it's not him, then there's another person very similar, but I will say this, right? It's about a guy, I've seen some of Claster's messages before where he's kind of said, he made an apology about the fact that he said the N-word and the R-word. Original and other stuff to a couple people who were wanting to confront him. There's a group and such, and he did mention a guy by the name of JM. He usually goes by JM Enterprises, and he has had some beef with Pepsi9072 over logo stealing, which Pepsi's had a couple beefs with logo stealing. Honestly, this was apparently a month ago, and then So Matthew responds with this, and then Claster responds with, okay, first of all, he can do whatever he wants. It's his opinion, not yours, with an evil emoticon. And Matthew responds, oh, shut up. I'm really sick of you. don't ever talk to me and stay the hell away from the wiki. Having this little bias of, get the fuck out, you stupid fucking bitch. Like, not literally like that, Again, I'm being extreme for the sake of probably what Claster would probably see out of that. So Claster responds back with, I can make sock puppets whenever I want. Technically true. So you shut up. And then he later responds with, and by the way, I am a member of the CCG88 Discord server. If you're wondering, CCG88 is another YouTuber based in the UK who uploads logo evolutions. He's had his own controversies and even a scandal once. But if you want to go, check out that, go check out that in your own time. Matthew responds back and says, "Go ahead, keep sock puppeting, and you'll find yourself globally banned from there, and you'll never create another account again, smart gay. Keep on making a fool of yourself." If you're wondering what he means by globally banned, there's a thing going on right now where a lot of the CLG mods are trying to contact it's Wiki Foundry writers, which are I think Travis and Clay, and they're talking about trying to IP ban Claster's address or whatever. And then Claster responds, shut up, you fool. You need to grow up. Besides, I got all the evidence I need. Hashtag Clasterlogic is not a troll. Matthew then responds, we got evidence on you too, but keep believing you're not a troll, and maybe someday someone will find Bigfoot. So my thoughts on this, because there's a couple more responses, and it's mainly just one from NM, but I don't see what that is, so I'm just gonna skip that one. So, thoughts on this is, Matthew is someone around the same time period as old as some of the other administrators, like Steven, Steven Cesar or whatever. But actually, I think Cruise Ship as well. But the thing of this is that I personally feel like, actually, let me just check something. I feel like Matthew in this conversation, while he is trying to do the right thing, first of all, I have mentioned multiple times my own bias on if Clash is a troll or not, because there is a little bit of a debate on that. I don't think Clash is a troll because he's doing it with the intent of himself trying to change something, but he's not doing it in a negative or a funny or humorous delight. He's trying to do it for his own positivity, so he can have an effect that he wants and such. And I know Claster wants to say he got evidence, but technically he does, because there, again, my bias, I do feel like with all the people confronting him, or stuff like JM, quote unquote, backstabbing him and such, I can definitely see how there might be some evidence. In fact, I know Claster was mentioning on Twitter, which he does have a Twitter account. He was mentioning that he has all the evidence he needs, so he can kind of contact the FBI on that. So it's like a counterclaim, if that makes sense. It's like, we have evidence, we can send this to the FBI, and Claster's like, well, I have evidence too, I can also send that to the FBI. And they're both, it was mainly like, you're cyberbullying, no, you're cyberbullying, and it was very similar to, not necessarily like back and forth type of stuff, because it only went back and forth, technically 0.5, because it was just Logofile, then Claster, and I think maybe Logofile maybe has responded in his Logofile thread about it after he made that thread on his profile. However, once again, I would like to mention that, technically speaking, Claster, with all the stuff that's been going around, with all the people confronting him on CLG, like the couple of users, he's outmatched in those cases. It's one guy versus, let's say, 4 to 5 people. I think maybe 4, maybe 5. I'm just going to go with that general number. Automatically, you're likely going to lose if 4 or 5 people are going after you than 1. Because people can say, like, if one person made, like, some very edgy or, like, racist joke, for example, and then, let's say, 10 people start attacking him, he could make the claim he's being harassed if he had that sort of mindset, or if that imaginary person had a mindset. So I feel like Claster can actually use the evidence similar to how Logophile wants to use it as well, because both sides technically have fights with each other in some capacity, and by both fights, by both sides, it's really Claster and CLG. It's not Claster and Logophile. But either way, because Claster spammed and impostered people and made a name for himself, CLG is trying to kick him out. And I'm not trying to take all of CLG. It's mainly a couple of members in particular, which I have mentioned, but I'm not going to mention again because then I'd be sounding like a broken record. It's mainly the idea of I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do, so I can have my way. Essentially, is what Claster was trying to do. And some of the people on CLG are like, you're a fucking asshole, and we're going to kick you out and onto the moon because that's how much we hate you. And of course, again, I am kind of being a bit extreme, but that is kind of how it looks from an outsider's perspective, or even from Claster's perspective, because Claster, of course, has these outbreaks for a reason. He thinks he's right. He doesn't want anyone to tell him he's wrong, and by people telling him that he's wrong, he just believes more in himself. So it's like a spiral that continues out of loop, and there's no easy way to really combat this, because it really depends on when Claster himself wants to take other people's things in. However, I have something I want to mention. I feel like the way CLG has been doing it has likely made Claster more mad than accepting, or willing to accept. Because if more people had tried to tell him or contact him or tried to help him, and I'm not saying there weren't people, there were even with me there was admins and mods, but they're usually very short, and they don't have all the time in their day, because everyone eventually gets a job. Everyone gets some sort of reason that they need to live. They need to do some sort of mandatory chore, for example. They can't be on 24/7 every day. But the little things I feel like could help Claster out a lot, but at the same time, you don't want to dedicate yourself solely to help one person. Because after all, if this is a community, we need to kind of stick together in a community. We don't need to go striving off to one person. And if we did, then we would have to only follow up to this one mythical being in some capacity. Of course, not necessarily mythical, it's mainly just this one guy. And then it would mainly go into the realm of, I would just kind of describe it as more of celebrity stalking in a way, except it's a lot more, shorter, of course. Even within that, even within all the stuff that Claster's doing, if we have taken the time of day to use our words more properly, in my opinion, and if we had the time to at least try to mention to Claster a lot more calmly than some people have, it's likely that he could have saw the error of his ways. Even if he didn't want to accept it, if we kept saying it in that sort of general sense and not get mad over it, then it's very likely that what's happened with the CLG for about the last 6 months probably would have died by now. And that's just kind of how I feel on that side of the story. If anyone wants to come back this, go ahead. I'll allow you to for a quick second, but I'm going to look for a new thing to talk about on VC. Once I get to the end of VC, I'm probably going to end the stream and likely contact someone who's on the VC right now, because I haven't really talked. I just kind of want to hear their story or how they think. So, Claster has had a Logopedia account, but it was apparently due to sock puppetry. Very interesting. I have seen that, and I haven't been able to really connect it too much, other than it's likely, Claster, of course, but that's really it, honestly. Mov has said, I think his banning caused more problems for himself because he can't handle it. And then he links a thing from JM, who I was mentioning earlier. I'm actually going to go to this link in a second. Once he was banned, he was fully destroyed, I guess, quote unquote. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to have to move my camera all the way back up here, and then I'm going to go on to Twitter. So, I know JM has a Twitter, but so is this might be just a tweet from JM while it's loading. So, this is where we're talking about Claster's situation. I'll get to that in just a second. Let me check one more thing real quick. This might be the end of the stream and possibly VC in a second. So the reviewer 7387 has said, I don't get the obsession of exposing stuff. Just list off the evidence in a Word document or something like that. There's no need to make a show to insult the person involved. Just post the evidence you have, prove your case. Leave it be until evidence proving otherwise is posted. I don't really have anything to really combat that. So, Muff has said the Claster situation is basically self-destruction. Is there anything else? Most important thing, are we learning anything from Claster? Like CLG Wiki is immaturely reacting to Claster. Now, one thing I want to mention. One thing is, when we say CLG Wiki, we don't need to. We want to be more specific, but still vague. We don't want to mention certain people, because then we'll leave out other people who are having that sort of mindset. The main idea is some of the CLG Wiki, or maybe even a couple people of the CLG Wiki. But saying CLG Wiki implies that everyone is over, Claster. And already I can prove one person that is not too much against Claster, besides a couple things, he's doing. That person being me. And of course, there's Kai, who's also on CLG, and there might be certain...
I don't really hate Claster. I don't know. I feel like kid just probably needs to, in a way, he seems like one of those types of people where he seems terrible now, but he could probably redeem himself in a couple of years and be perfectly normal in the future.
I feel like he can do that too, but the only real quick, let me just do something. The only thing, the main thing with that is that it also when someone gets redeemed, quote unquote, it really depends on how tides have changed. Like, there's still probably people who don't like Austin Alexander or Dan B because of the fact of videos that are technically now out of date from 2014, 2015 from Stefan Caesar. And the problem is that people will stumble onto it and likely still probably hate those people and use that as like a golden standard. And what I'm doing right now is still, I'm trying to keep it like non-biased unless it's what I'm trying to say or what someone else is trying to say. And I'm just trying to give a couple things and we can talk about it and see what we want to talk about. However, by making this live stream, and because I'm going to keep it public, I'm not going to enlist it, the problem with that is that people stumble onto this eventually and be like, this man's a bad person because I saw this one video or these couple videos and he just seems bad because either they're naive or they're very new and they're trying to look at people how not to be, for example. And while there are lessons to be learned with Claster, of course, like obviously don't sock puppet or imposter, or spam. There are other things to keep in mind too, because trying to say that an entire person is bad, while technically and if you think it's morally bad, fair enough. But you can't just say that with everything that Claster says. Like he's doing his best in his own head, and the problem is that even though we want to say that he is bad and such, And even if we say it in the ways we are saying it, it's always up to the person that we're saying it to take it in. And no matter what, the person who wants to take it in also can take it out at any moment. So even if we do all this, there's a chance he can stop everything and just go back to the way he was, or go become someone new, for example. And there's no easy way to combat this. It's all really luck, chance, and what the guy's thinking. And since we do not have any sort of thing to just be like, oh, well, he's acting like this, I can see it because I have some, like, brain technology, and I can, do that. The only thing we really do is predict, and is to assume. That's really the only true things we can really do. And they can vary from level to level, because it could be something that you vaguely heard about, or something that you think is really true and you have evidence on. And even though I want to support the ideas of anything that's on the latter side, where it has to have a little bit of evidence and has to kind of be at least combated, like, something like that, of course, there'll always be something like this for every situation. Not just Claster, not just, Dan B, but with anything that happens in general. Not within just the local community, but life in general depends on how other people take things. And we can always change how other people take things by how we say stuff, of course. And even then, even if we say stuff, we can't change everyone's head at the same time. We have to have some sort of thing to do it. And even then, people may not take it because they think it's morally wrong. Or it's like just a bad thing for them to do because they're not in shape, for example, for like some sort of new exercise. So that's just kind of the main reason. Like when we say CLG Wiki, it has to be just a couple people. A couple people from this community are trying to do something that you don't morally agree with, is how it should be worded. Because by mentioning it like that, everyone will think we look more, dumber than we actually are. And even then, my goal is not to say we're not dumb, because some of us can't be dumb. In fact, you can think we're dumb for doing it, or you can think we're dumb for attending this, or I'm dumb for making this live stream. However, if there's one thing you should take away from this whole expose I'm giving, it's just take things the way you want to take it, but be aware of how other people take it and try to understand their shoes as well. Because if you don't, that can lead to problems, and those problems can lead to history. So, let's take a look. Anything else that Muv said? I feel like, even though Muv's typing, I'm just going to go ahead and go on to the CLG treat. So, I'm going to go to Clasterlogic's Twitter account, and then I'll likely be ending this stream. So, he posts this, right? He posts this. This has gone far too long, and now it's time to make a message. Or actually, no, you know what? Okay, never mind, I forgot. Yeah, so what he does is, within the Twitter limits, he copy and pastes the entire thread. Or actually, okay, you know what? He takes the thread, and what he does is he alters it ever so slightly. For example, right here with this one, he changes the last line to be, to sum it up, logo file, either stop it right now or get burned, the choice is yours. It's very similar, but in the actual original thread, it was Claster. And you know why he changed it to the logo file. It was meant to be some sort of smart play, and it was meant to be like, well, if I copy and paste this thread onto here, obviously with, the logic, it has to be like, well, I can use his own words against him, or something very similar, but more vague. Now, JM has a couple of arguments here. So, look what you did there. You copy and pasted what logo file said to you and replaced Claster with logo file. He has done nothing wrong. You did. Oh yeah, he bullied me on the CLG when I was here. He's the bully, not me. As you can see, at least in my opinion, Claster is just over here trying to fake he is right. And with the more... okay, so, for one thing, right now, JM's not coming in with, like, oh, you suck and you should know that. He's coming in with more of a brute force, I would describe it as. Because he's saying you did nothing wrong, you did. And it's a little jab, but Classer's been taking a lot of these little jabs, and of course, these little jabs have been starting to hurt after a little bit. And it's not because Classer doesn't deserve it, it's mainly because Classer doesn't know how to handle it. If you think you deserved it or not, that's up to you. Yeah, I was also immature, okay, JM, yeah, I was also immature once. I raided your server. However, you deserved it. I heard of your actions and decided to do it. Now I know raiding is immature. Classer responds, well, guess what then? Screw your little ass off. One more reply from you, and I'll call your local police department. You got it? JM then responds, you deserved all that backlash. You deserved all those bans. Logophile was talking about your actions. You wasted everyone's time at the COG. Sock puppet accounts are not going to help. At least, and then it kind of ends here. Of course, there's more stuff. We will get into that in a second. So, again, little jabs. However, you deserve it. Meaning, you are in the wrong. Of course, to someone who's trying to combat this, he's going to think in his head, I'm not wrong. You are mistaken. I will respond in this blank state of way. Of course, we hear Classer's responding with, you know, I am mad at you. Get off, or else I will call the police. And kind of more of like, I would describe it as like, you know, more kind of desperate and kind of, you know, wanting to just kind of end it, essentially. Wanting to end the conversation we've had, at least with this. So, next one from JM. People don't hate me for that, they hate me due to other stuff. Back on topic, you were the one spamming the COG. Why just hate on someone just because they like TR3X? Now, there's nothing really to mention here besides the fact that he is ever so slightly wrong. He wasn't mentioning the fact that people... Actually, I could be wrong. I believe he wasn't mentioning people. I believe he wasn't mentioning people that, like, was back from, like, TR3X. AVT... oh, yeah, that's me. Okay. So, apparently Kai is going to come back very soon. Actually, speaking of which, Kai is here. So, next... okay, good. Next part. JM says, wow, Claster. Stop being a baby blaming other people who... Hey. Stop being a baby blaming other people who have done nothing wrong for your actions. You banned from the CLG for a reason. You nearly ruined the CLG as a whole. Logophile had done nothing wrong. Now, if you think this is morally true or not, or factually true or not, let's talk about this. Again, instead of it being a little jab, it's more like a moderate jab. You nearly ruined the COG because of what you did. He's thinking in his right mind, well, this is what I need to do to get back onto the COG. But because he's been responded to like this, even if it's, you know, bad or not, like good or bad, depending on how you want to take it, of course, in Classer's head, he's going to think, no. You need... Alright, JM comes back. You need to really grow up, dude. This drama hasn't gone anywhere. You think you're the more mature one, thinking Logophile is the immature one. In reality, it's the opposite. You're being the one being immature. In my opinion, this is essentially what I'm kind of saying in some capacity. Of course, I'm not trying to say, well, Logophile is mature and Class is immature. It's mainly how, you know, it's mainly the way people see things. And he's trying to mention how he sees things. Yep.
I'm going to interrupt you there.
I was going to interrupt.
Basically, that entire, like, in a way, I don't know, like, interaction or whatever was basically, you're wrong. No, and then the other person saying, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, and
I feel like this entire mess is basically just a glorified, very long, drawn-out version of that.
I can see
more
that.
complex too.
I can see that, but even like it depends on when he wants to accept it, or if we accept it, which we're likely not, and I don't really support that from my own bias. Don't agree with me on that. If you agree with him or not, that's personally fine to you, of course, because everyone's gonna have people who hate them. Okay, every community has any sort of haters, whether it be people wanting to see locals or people wanting to kind of see like some like really immature people. Doesn't matter, because it really depends on how you take it. Alright?
Okay, wait a second. So, I'm gonna interrupt because Love was wanting me to talk to my mom, and I did talk to my mom. And my mom says how basically, my mom said how basically the autism definitely has a play in how he's reacting to, and by spamming and stuff. It's his way of trying to get attention. To try and get back on the wiki. He feels like he lost something, but at the same time my mom also said he shouldn't be put back on the wiki because he should learn about how to deal with consequences. He did something, so he has to learn it. But at the same time, she also feels like the people in the community are not fully understanding what's going on at the same time with autism and stuff. Like, it's not an autism card, but she's basically saying how he shouldn't do the stuff that he's doing, but it looks like he's reacting because of sort of people going after him. But at the same time, it's some of it, like she said, he should be banned, and he, and in fact she said how how like he should be way more responsible, and that he should be told that he needs to be more responsible, which I said you guys did tell him that he should be more responsible, and that he just keeps spamming the wikis. And she was like he's acting out from the looks of it, because he can't get what he wants, and he has to learn that he can't get what he wants all the time.
I see that, but I can definitely see that, yeah, but I feel like saying that the community doesn't know autism wouldn't be exactly the right way to say it. It's mainly,
especially since a whole bunch of the people in the
the reputation-wise, yeah. However, what I want to mention is that it doesn't necessarily matter if someone, like, even within that, you can still control it to the best of your abilities. And
exactly. But I didn't mean it specifically like community don't know autism, but I feel like they're not handling this well, considering that a lot of the people might not know he has autism. And my mom says this is not guaranteed. This might be wrong. I'm not purposely self-diagnosing it, but my mom expects that he has around Asperger's, if not slightly higher, which means that it's more lower on the spectrum possibly, but they need to learn how to. He needs to learn how to. He can't get what he wants. Is what my mom basically said, and that like it's a sign of autism for sure that he's kind of acting out. But yeah,
I will say one thing, okay? And this isn't based off like class or anything, but I actually kind of want to go to bed right now. So, due to time constraints, I know you mentioned this, Kai, but is anyone else interested on that? Because I know Kai wanted like a part 2 or whatever, and I don't want to force it, but I also kind of want to see, how this will affect or whatever. Because even though I'm saying, well, don't take everything I say, like, get your own opinion, there's going to be people who are going to do it anyways. And I have to accept that. There's no way I can't accept that, because that's life. So, do you want to do it sometime?
I'm just going to close it up. I'm going to close up the video by saying how Claster shouldn't be doing what he's doing, but I feel like people went a little too harsh on him. That's basically my stance on it.
I agree with this.
I agree with
that guy's stance.
I don't know if I can mention the other person by username, but at least with Muv, can I how do you feel about the situation?
I'll read out Muv because I know exactly what kind of voice he wants to be read in.
Well, I don't know what voice he wants to be read in, so I can't just be like, he needs to be read in this voice.
No, I have the perfect voice. I'm gonna read and set the style of the local boy for Muv.
Well, no one's gonna get that. You have to probably explain, unless people can search it up. Is Muv even here? Muv might not be here.
Muv is here.
Muv's online.
Muv is definitely in the voice chat.
Muv's online. He's on the VC. Okay, Muv's typing. Alright, fair enough. So...
Wait, I got it.
What do you personally... Well, technically he's already said it, but what do you personally think as, like, final closing comments for today?
And I'll read into the style of Lucas Logo Boy 555.
I also, Can I mention, the other person by username? Hold on. Can I mention you?
Yo, my locals. This is I, Mub5, and today we're going to be talking about, I have a little statement. Claster's going to have to learn in simple self-destruct.
Class is gonna have to learn in its simple self-destruction.
Discipline?
Well, self-discipline probably isn't the right word. He's meaning self-destruction as in he's destroying his own brand / personal image. Because when you think Clasterlogic, most people are not going to think of the Claster company. In fact, I bet you there's probably going to be people that are going to think about the Claster company in the wrong way. But it really is just about, in general, it's really just about personal image and self-image. And I feel like the other person's AFK, so I'm just going to. Well, I mean they are green on Discord, but I'm just going to let them be because maybe they're like green. Maybe he doesn't want. Maybe the other person doesn't want to comment. That's personally fair, and I respect everyone's time here, so I'm going to.
And let's fully clarify. Wait, let's fully clarify at the end of this live stream too. We do not condone harassing people, and we also, these are just opinions. We're not attacking other people for opinions. You can get angry about opinions all you want, but it's not going to help the situation. And you don't have to watch our content if you don't like our opinions, but at the same time, you don't need to unnecessarily attack us over them, is what I'm just making that warning.
Yeah. Stay safe, everyone, and have a good night or a good morning if you're watching this in the morning or something. Good day.